Am I the asshole by telling my spouse what I don't want to receive on my birthday? My 40-ish birthday is coming up. My spouse, 50-ish has a habit of surprising me with something on my birthday, which is nice of course. But in the past years he has gifted me board games and statues of my favorite comic book character, while I explicitly told him I do not want either of those things. Reasons: we have plenty of games we still have to play, and we're running out of space to display the figurines. Last year he gifted me a figurine anyway. It was a nice figurine and I liked it. However, I also told him I'd rather had gotten something else instead. Today he asked me what I thought about a specific board game he thinks I will like to get for my birthday. I told him I don't want it. It's a board game I'm not interested in, and I just don't want any more board games. He's angry now and calling me very ungrateful and impossible to find gifts for. He's done with this shit. He told me I should just make a groceries list with stuff I want then. I do have a wish list, by the way. So am I the asshole? Not the asshole your partner asked if you'd like a specific board game for your birthday, and you said no. Why did he bother to ask if he was going to flip his lid if you didn't want it? It sounds like they're in a gift rut. When the dust settles, suggest other things you're interested in to give him a little direction. Not the asshole. He's done with this shit. Your man sounds like he needs a new diaper because he's a small child. Very immature. He's just buying this stuff for himself and using your birthday as an excuse. That's why he's so mad, because he's not actually thinking about you. He's buying that stuff for himself, not for you. Sounds like Homer's bowling ball. I mean Marge's. Same scenario. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Gifting is about getting something the other person wants. It's not about the person giving the gift. It doesn't matter what he thinks about the gift. All that matters is what you want, and that it's legal/affordable LOL. I have this debate with myself when getting my kids stuff too. They always want tat. I do not want a house full of tat. However, it is their birthday and it's within budget, so they get their tat. There's stuff I won't buy on principle, but the overpriced Disney dresses, the Jellycat bunnies that have to be the correct brand. We have it all. Woman shrugging. You've been very reasonable. I am concerned about his reaction. You don't seem to be, which tells me it mightn't be unusual. His reaction was horrible and unjustified. Does he speak to you like this much? I'd be asking him to take anger management classes, never mind a fecking figurine you don't want. Do you feel safe around him? Am I the asshole for changing the Wi-Fi password and not telling my roommate? Hey guys, so my 19F roommate, let's call her C, 20F, and I have been living together for about 8 months. At first it was fine, but lately it's become unbearable. She's one of those people who constantly has things going on. She has people over. Constantly. It's not just a few friends on a Friday, it's like 4-6 people almost every night of the week. They're loud, they take over the living room, and they eat my food. I've come home to find my entire fridge raided, and gone more than once. I'm not a hermit, but I value my peace and quiet, especially after classes. I basically just hide in my room with my headphones on. I've tried talking to her about it 3 times. I was polite at first, then more direct. Each time she gets super apologetic, says, "You're right, I'll tone it down," and then nothing changes. Last week I even left a note on the fridge, asking her to please not have people over after 10 p.m. on weeknights. She texted me, "Okay, got it." And then that very night had a bunch of people over until 1 a.m. Last night was the final straw. She was having another one of her movie nights, and there were like 8 people here. They were being so loud I could hear them over my game. I went out to get a glass of water, and one of her guy friends was trying to figure out how to use my expensive coffee machine that I specifically told her not to touch. I just lost it. I went back to my room, logged into the router settings, and changed the Wi-Fi password. It's like 20 characters long, so she'll never guess it in a million years. Literally 2 minutes later, I hear a bunch of, "OMG, the Wi-Fi isn't working," from the living room. C comes and knocks on my door, asks if the internet is down for me too. I just said, "Nope, works fine for me." She asked what the password was, and I told her I changed it. She just stared at me and then asked why. I told her the internet is for residents, not her friend circle, and that I was tired of it all. She got furious. Said I was being a psycho, passive-aggressive, and controlling. I said I was being effective since talking didn't work. She and her friends all went off to another house, but since then she's giving me the silent treatment. She texted me that I'm a huge bitch and that I'm making her living situation hostile. A part of me feels bad, but honestly, I just wanted my apartment back. I pay for half the internet. I should be able to use it in peace. So am I the asshole? Esh. She's certainly the asshole for continuing to have friends over after 10 o'clock on weeknights, especially since she agreed not to. But she pays for half the internet. You don't have the right to block her access to it. Stop leaving notes. Sit down and have a conversation with her. Dear roommate, I'm sorry you feel I am making the apartment a hostile living space. I have felt for months that it was a hostile space for me because every attempt I made to ask you to respect my needs was met with an aggressive move to ignore what I asked for. I really don't enjoy having people here throughout the weeknights, but I tried to compromise and just asked if company could please be done by 10 p.m. That night you had people here till 1 a.m. I've asked that you keep your company from eating my food, using certain of my appliances, and in every instance what I asked was ignored. This living arrangement is not working. I'm offering you the choice of leaving within the next 30 days, or I will. I'll go with not the asshole, but only because she steals your food. She is responsible for what her guests do. You really cannot cut her off from the internet. I wish you all the best with your living situation. Everyone sucks here, your roommate more than you, by a lot. Her and her friends should not be taking over the place most nights. You live there too, and have a right to quiet times. They should also not be taking your food and using your stuff without permission. You shouldn't be holding the internet hostage, as your roommate also pays half for it. It really sounds like this isn't a situation that's good for either of you, and if you can, it'll be better to look for different accommodation. In the end, it doesn't matter who is the asshole here. The important thing is that you two have such different lifestyles that you are incompatible. Instead of focusing on who is at fault, focus on finding a different apartment. Look at when your lease is up, and start looking for a different apartment, perhaps one that you can afford on your own. Get rid of the part of you that feels bad. I think what you have done is brilliant. You asked and were ignored. Now you've been heard. Brilliant, bloody brilliant, beaming face with smiling eyes. Am I the asshole for exposing my hub's half-naked Abercrombie & Fitch job? I think this is funny, but I'm being called an a-hole. Parties are me, 40F, my hub, 41M, and our son Mark, 18M. And visiting friends. Mark is an all-round good kid. Decent student, popular, and he is also strikingly handsome. He's a college freshman, but he also models, some which he has done for about 3 years. It's legit, he has an agency. Okay, not Ford or Wilhelmina, but what I'd call a legit medium-tier agency. And he has done a fair bit of work and made some very decent money, which is helpful all around, and we are grateful for that. A couple of days ago he visited bringing in a proof sheet, is that the term? For a new magazine, ad he is in for a fragrance. It was pretty. Racy. Let's just say there was an absence of being fully dressed, and some rather provocative posing with another model. Frankly, I was fine with it. He's an adult, and we're talking great exposure in a national magazine. Not a huge one, but still. Hub, however, was not impressed. He acted like this was positively scandalous, and somewhat admonished Mark for even doing the photo shoot. We happened to have friends, another couple, visiting. Mark was embarrassed at the scolding. I basically called Hubs a hypocrite. I said, yeah, nothing like when we met and you were working at Abercrombie & Fitch. Backstory for those not old enough. In the early 2000s, ANF hired buff young guys as brand ambassadors in their stores. Their entire job was to stand around shirtless as greeters at the store doors. That was it. My hub did that for 2 years when he was 18-19. His entire work uniform was a pair of ANF jeans and flip-flops. Oh, and ANF underwear if it happened to show. Hub did that for almost 2 years, although apparently now thinks he's above it, and doesn't want anyone to know. After the scolding, I of course was obligated to explain to our visiting Freeds how his early career was to stand around half naked and look hot. Oh, and occasionally spray some cologne. Hopefully his spritzer finger didn't get too tired, poor baby. Hubs called me some unpleasant words. So, am I the asshole for calling him out? He embarrassed my son. I felt he deserved it. Edited to fix a couple of crazy typos. Edited for more info. For those of you accusing me of stealing from my son, where the heck did that come from? We have never taken 1 penny from Mark. All of his money went into his own account. It was helpful because he was able to do things like buy himself a much better car than we would have been able to, buy phones and electronics and such, buy more of the clothes he wanted, and use money for college. We even kept paying him an allowance. No thieves here. There was no full nudity in the cologne ad. How could there be? Yes, Mostly undressed, but nothing's rated. Nothing wildly salacious, more like implied. I would say suggestive. It was racy, but nothing you wouldn't see in any copy of Cosmo or GQ or such. Husband has actually joked many times about his days at ANF. I guess he just wasn't in the mood for it. He didn't scold Mark too hard. It was more like, maybe one day you'll get a job where you can keep your clothes on, which prompted my ANF remark, since that was precisely what he was doing. Not the asshole. He was a hypocrite. You just pointed it out. Normally I'd say don't do that in front of company, but he did to your son, so it's fair game as far as I'm concerned. Everyone says you're the ass. I don't think so. You were just pointing out your husband double standards. Your son is an adult. He's not making G-porn, although nothing wrong with it if he was. As long as he's safe and happy. Also, when hubby worked in a shop, people could touch him, whereas your son number one could touch him. I've seen the documentary, on How and F as well. Not the asshole, don't dish it, hub, if you can't take it. This whole post is nothing more than trying to convince us how hot your family is. You are the asshole. Not the asshole. LOL. I used to love those models. Good for you for not shaming your son and reminding dad where he got his looks. I think this is hilarious. You were absolutely right for calling him out. He definitely deserved it. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for threatening to kick my brother-in-law out of my home for purposefully irritating me? So this happened yesterday. My F29 sister, F32, let's call her Alice, and her new husband, M32, let's call him Sam, came to stay with me for the weekend. Initially I'd only invited them for Friday night game night, but they sort of invited themselves to stay the weekend. It's a little annoying, but they're in the middle of moving to my area from across the country, so I can be a little flexible for them. I barely know Sam, only meeting him a handful of times, and he really wants to be like a big brother to me. I live alone, and I'm very introverted and neurodivergent, though not officially diagnosed. From the start they both were just a little overly entitled and disrespectful, first claiming they'd arrive at a certain time, then pushing that time back a couple hours, then not arriving till 2 hours after that. They were 4 hours late from the original plan. There was more as well, but basically I was getting irritated, but was still being a gracious host. Sam started to try to low-key insult me as a form of joking around, calling me a little child, and that no adult listens to the whining of a little child like me, and then calling me boastful when I tried defending myself, which made me feel my patience getting thin with him specifically. I have a sensory issue with forks and knives scraping against bowls and plates. Like, it literally is painful for me to the point I have to cover me ears, and my whole body flinches. While we were eating, Alice accidentally scraped her knife on the plate, and apologized to me. It wasn't too bad. Then when she explained to Sam why she apologized, he took his fork and purposefully ground it against his plate to make that horrible screeching sound while staring right at me with a grin on his face. I instantly told him if he ever did that again in my home, he would be kicked out. They changed their plans right away and left an hour later, very upset at me for saying that to him. Too long did not read. Brother-in-law purposefully made a horrible noise that hurts me, and I warned him I'd kick him out if he did it again. Am I the asshole for warning that I'd kick him out if he did that again? Edit. Just wanted to give a little aftermath. My sister insisted over and over again that I was being dramatic for taking it that far, and when I told her what Sam did was disrespectful, she insisted it wasn't, and that he was just playfully teasing to try to get a rise out of me, like siblings are supposed to. Second edit. I just remembered another incident. I am celiac, and my home is fully gluten-free. I reminded my sister long before their visit, and asked them not to bring any gluten to my home. They brought a wheat-based cereal, knowingly, into my home, though they brought a bowl and disposable cutlery to minimize the chance of cross-contamination. I'm still upset about this. Not the asshole. Sam's a dick. It's not playful teasing, it's deliberate bullying. Your sister's husband is the asshole, and if I were you I'd tell her right now that he is no longer welcome in your home. And please get evaluated and get a diagnosis. There are a lot of resources out there. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your brother-in-law is a childish instigator, and your sister needed to shut that crap down. Instead, she took his side. I feel bad that they are moving closer to you. Not the asshole. Sam is not your sibling. Not the asshole. You have a sensory issue, and your sister is aware enough to apologize and explained it to Sam. Sam intentionally made a noise and grinned while doing this, knowing full well how much it hurts you. That's rude to do to anyone, and especially in your home. Teasing someone with a sensory issue by doing the thing that pains them? Absolutely not. They're adults, and if they're supposed to be your big brother, wouldn't you be sensitive? Or does he take big brother to mean bully and jerk like some big brothers are to their younger siblings? Not the asshole. Broad strokes, your house, your rules, your peace. Finer point brother-in-law is an overgrown child out to cause trouble. Even more reason to give him the boot. Yeesh.